boarding house and they all have a big weird Thanksgiving dinner. Doesn't that sound great? Yeah. Anyway, there was a lot to do.
The kids can't have social media in this new one. No smartphones.
Yeah.
You got to keep it at the time. Stay the same time.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough, right?
Was there always the idea that Arnold was going to be mostly raised by his grandparents, or where did that come from?
I mean, from the start? Yeah, I thought it would be fun. The thing I pitched immediately once I'd made those Arnold shorts was the thing I pitched to Nickelodeon was Arnold lives in a boarding house with his crazy grandparents and a bunch of eccentric boarders, because it just sounded like fun. And I was very glib about the parents. I was like, oh, they're off doing something. They're like filmmakers or something. They're making documentaries in Africa or something. And I only brought them home because I realized after a while that was kind of mean to have them be neglectful. And so I had to have them be missing, and then I did all that stuff. And it actually was even sadder once I'd done that. So I really had to struggle with that. I'd really, you got to think ahead, and it's hard to plan ahead. You're just making the next episode and the next episode. And I realized that I had to turn them into his parents again. And I didn't, honestly, it took me a long time to figure out how to do it.
Now, Lane, where do you think Arnold would be today if he was growing up?
Right here on this stage.
He's like, I'm Arnold.
Oh, wow, where would he be? That's a question I have not actually thought of, but I bet you have. I don't know. He's doing something to help the world, obviously.
Yeah, he's doing something to help people, I think. Yeah, they're kind of
Doctors Without Borders.
Do-gooders. Yeah, he's kind of a doctor without borders, probably. I also said he could be like an anthropologist or something, or an archaeologist, or they had the aptitude test.
I was thinking more like historian in some way with Arnold.
Yeah.
What
about good jobs? Good jobs.
What about you, Mr. Jamil? What do you think?
He's a jazz player. Living between Perry and Brooklyn. Making music.
You thought about this?
Oh, I'm living it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, now we're coming up at the end of our panel, so I'm just kind of end on a happy note. So I'll start again with Jamil. I'll start with you again. What was one of your fondest memories while being on the show?
You know what? I would say it's a feeling. And that feeling is joy. Because every Thursday after school, from the time I was 13 until 19, my mother would pick me up, hand me the script, and we would drive an hour to Burbank, and I would read the script and then go to work. And I looked so forward to seeing everybody and then walking in the recording room, and like Craig said, it was like being on the schoolyard. We all were in there together, waiting for our turn to get up and do our lines with each other. And it wasn't, I was spoiled. I didn't know, I thought that's how all voiceovers worked. Voiceovers, you're recording in a room alone. You
Really
can
often
take A,
alone.
B, and C for each line.
Which is really dumb.
So it was incredible. And I'll say this and then I'll be quiet. Was working with phenomenal young actors and didn't even see the weight and like how powerful all of these young performers were. And the love, and like if you have a lot of love for that show, like your love is going into a bowl that is large enough to receive all of you. Because we really put a lot of love in that, and if you grew up watching it, I want you to know that I grew up making it. And we all grew up together with this show here on it.
Thanks, Jamil.
What about you, Lane?
I can't top what he just said. That's it. I mean, that's all of it. It's just that family that we created there. That's what it was.
You, Mr. Craig?
I'm not making this up. My favorite memories from the show was recording the actors. It really was always my favorite because it was a moment when it kind of brought the script to life, getting the actors to turn the written word into performances. And there's a lot to go after that. I don't want to shortchange the drawing, the storyboarding, and all the art that got made that would be, and then the animation would come back, and then Jim Lang would put the music on it, and we'd mix it. There was a lot of really fun stuff to come. But recording the actors was always my favorite. I remember the opera, both y'all were there.
Figaro, Figaro, Figaro.
And when we did it, that was one of the best days of my life. And it was just because everybody was in, each kid would come and take another song and kind of everyone was kind of trying to top the one that came before them. And it just, we all were super high on how cool that was. And when we went out of there, we were really happy. I just remember being just like lit up for the rest of the night because it was so fun. So anyway, it was very joyous. And
isn't that the episode that I sort of transitioned
Yeah.
out because I was doing the singing part
and Phil was playing
doing
the talking part. His
Yes.
voice had changed already, but he could still sing the songs.
Yeah.
God, he was the better singer. That's a fact.
Can I just piggyback something, Craig? I really want to shout out Craig Bartlett because what you just spoke to in that, like, your favorite part was recording. Craig was like our uncle in that he made us all feel like the entire show was us recording. And he was, meanwhile, writing it with a team of writers, dealing with animators, dealing with the studio, and he protected us from all of that.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that part.
I never saw Craig snap except once. He said, "Stop talking." We had like, we're a bunch of kids. But there was one moment where Craig was like, "You guys need to get in line and stop doing that." And I was like, "Oh, there he goes. He's a dad."
Do you
Yeah.
remember the first place that we worked at the first Horta? They had the Foley stage there,
Yeah. Oh,
and there was
yeah.
like a drawer full of like noisemakers
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And I was like, "Stop playing with that shit. Get back to the mic."
Do you know what Foley is? Like, yeah. It was like, so it's like sand and like
That's right.
different textures. I mean, come on, you're a child? Come on.
Who could resist? I didn't blame them. Do you remember the main title when they're all marching?
Oh.
There were four of us on that sidewalk doing that. I was one of the guys going.
Oh, that's tight.
That was really fun.
That's so cool.
I didn't let them do it.
That's so cool. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. There's so many from the Hey Arnold cast
We'll be
here.
here tomorrow. We'll be here
Yeah.
the next day. Come by. If you can't get an autograph, just come by and say hello.
I know I can see from your
Please.
faces you were the ones that were there, but tell everybody it's way down at the end. That's where
He's
we
over
are.
there.
We'll be there tomorrow and Sunday.
Awesome.